Hey everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off grid in Australia. It has rained non-stop for like 3 days, and it means my kitchen's been wet, everything's squishy, animals have needed more care because of water ingress and things like that. And anyone following me on Facebook would have seen that we lost our orphaned lamb as well over the last couple of days. He went downhill, declined really rapidly, and we lost him. So it's been a big few days and hard to get anything done. So I've just plodded along as needed and got what was desperate to be done, but not much else, and haven't recorded anything, haven't even pulled the camera out. And I've just noticed that this has only got like 30% battery too, so I'm going to have to charge this in between doing stuff. So I thought I'd bring you along today though. I did another bulk meat order. I haven't shared it yet. I'll share it with the groceries because it makes more sense to share it with the groceries. But they had a special on chicken breasts for $5.90 a kilo. So I got a couple of boxes of those chicken breasts to use. So I've defrosted some since yesterday, so they're ready to go. And I also defrosted some of the little drumette things to cook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my normal drumette thing, get them in the oven, and then while they're cooking, I'm going to work on the breasts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them all into tenders. So I've been buying those bags of frozen chicken tenders from Coles or whatever, $9 a bag, $9 a kilo. It's really quite a good price. But with the limited cold space in the new groceries and things like that, with the lack of trailer and that, and the fact that I could get chicken breasts so cheap and then nicer when you do them yourself, I decided to do some. Now, when I deep fry, I like to do things in bulk, because if I'm going to pull oil out and if I'm going to be doing it, then I may as well just spend a couple of hours and do a whole lot. So by deep frying them rather than baking them or whatever, they reheat really well because of the fat in the batter. So I'm going to fill a pot with oil and I'm going to fry them all, which is, not the healthiest thing in the world, but it makes for really good reheatable chicken tenders. So that's the plan. So first up, I'm going to do the drumettes though. So I've got a bag of defrosted ones here, and they come, the only issue that I had with the drumettes that I bought rather than the wings come in 2 kilo bags, but the drumettes come in 5 kilo bags, which is hard to get defrosted. You can hear there's still some frozen in here. So the top part defrosts before the rest of it, even when I rotate it and stuff. So it means that cooking time can be variable too, because some are frozen and some aren't. Luckily, I don't mind them a little bit overcooked, so that's not such a big deal, because I like my wings and stuff to be quite crunchy. And they're all partially defrosted. None of them are completely solidly frozen, but the more you get into the middle here, the more some are a bit frozen. So there's the benefit of not having to cut them into pieces like the 3-piece wings, but there's the downfall of the fact that they're in 5 kilo bags. So I actually prefer the wings, to be honest. I actually prefer that little ribby wing bit rather than these little drumettes, but we ordered them to give them a go, and so we will obviously use them. So all I've got the 5 kilos here. Now I'm just going to quickly rinse my hands. And the way I like to prepare my chicken wings and stuff is I like to dredge them very generously in baking powder. Now, we're talking 4 or 5 tablespoons of baking powder probably for this amount. I'll have a look once I mix it up. And what we want is a coating on every piece of chicken. And what that's going to do is it's going to crisp up the skin in the oven. So it's going to make some of the water evaporate. A few bits of ice in here that I'm trying to collect up as well, and make the skin really, really crispy. If you haven't tried it, I highly suggest trying it, because it really does help to make them just that little bit better. So we've got a coating of baking powder on all of these. Now I'm going to get some trays with some racks. So what I do is I line the tray with some baking paper first to make it for easier cleanup, and then put a rack over the top, and then we lay out all the chicken. Now you can have it quite close together because it all shrinks as it cooks. And I've only got 3 of these large trays. So I could fit 4 in the oven on 2 racks if I had 4 of them. I do have some smaller trays though, but I do like to try and just jam it all onto the 3, and then I can move them around to make sure that nothing's blocking the heat from everything else, because if you put them on 2 different racks, of course you've got different dispersion of heat between the different layers and trays. So with 3 it gives me lots of room to maneuver them around. Though I did forget that even though this is 5 kilos, not 2, it actually takes up less space in the end because they're larger pieces. Also means they take longer to cook, but that's neither here nor there. We cook them until they're ready. So tray full, and then I'll get another one and I'll get them all done. All right, so both those trays are in the oven now. We'll start them off at a really high temperature to get them kick-started, and then I'll assess as we go and we'll work on it as we go. Now, I actually thought I had defrosted the bags of chicken breasts, but obviously I pulled tenderloins out, which, you know, works for me, makes things easier, because I don't have to cut them up now, but I didn't realize. Oh well, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to marinate these for a couple of hours before I crumb them and fry them off. So because they're already cut up, I have less to worry about showing you. This video was going to be about prepping the breasts to be the tenders, and then turns out I don't need to. So anyway, let me just get these broken up into this container. I think this is the last 2 bags of tenders too, and I didn't realise that that's what I pulled out. Oh well. The breasts were cheaper this order, so I ordered breasts because I don't mind doing a few extra steps to get it to work. So now, just to make my life easier, to mix the marinade, I might do it in this big bowl that I just rinsed from the other chicken, and then I'll transfer it back into the other container for the fridge. So we've got 4 kilos, I'm pretty sure these came in 2.5 kilo bags, so 4 to 5 kilos of chicken tenders here. Let me grab some supplies. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is basically my buttermilk equivalent. I'm going to add a tin of coconut cream. I'll just take one here if I need it, but we'll see how much liquid we end up with. So we got a tin of coconut cream, and then I've got a whole lot of pickle brine. I need something clean to make sure the pickles stay in. All right, so a whole lot of pickle brine. We're going to add some smoked paprika. So we've got some smoked paprika, nice and generous with that because we all know that I love that with everything. Some garlic powder, and then we've got some pepper. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the mushroom salt in here instead of just plain salt. And then we're just going to massage this through. All right, so we've got that coated. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this back into the square container just for ease of storage in the fridge. And I'm going to leave it in the fridge for a couple of hours just to tenderize the acids in the pickle brine and stuff. Will help to tenderize the chicken a bit and things like that. And then we will use this liquid to create that really flaky, floury external on it when I fry them. And then these can be used for many, many things, with salads, on wraps, diced up on pizza is always nice too. So I'm just going to transfer this back, get it in the fridge, and then I'll clean up all the raw chicken stuff and I'll move on. All right, the wings have been cooking for a fair while now. I don't know exactly how long, but we're going to mix up a glaze. Now I'm going to use some hoisin sauce. Not doing measurements as such here, I'm just winging it. I'm going to use some maple. Some soy sauce, which appears to have a leak in the bottom. Some garlic powder. Let me get a fork. Alrighty, and I'm going to brush the chicken with that. There we go, nice and crispy because of that baking powder. And all I'm going to do is glaze each one, sprinkle with some everything bagel. And stick them back in the oven for probably another 20 minutes so that they'll crisp back up. The glaze goes nice and sticky and they finish cooking all the way through. Super simple, but just really tasty and cheap. These were only, I think, $1.90 a kilo, so significantly cheap to eat. Oops, I forgot the bagel seasoning on the other tray. You can, of course, pull them out and glaze them again. Glaze them now and then go for 15 minutes, glaze them again, sort of thing. Depends on how much you want on there, how much effort you want to go to, and if you've got extra glaze, which I look like I will, so. But this chicken is cooked, so you can just pour this glaze over once it's cooked too, if that's what you wanted, because the brush isn't going into, like, isn't touching raw chicken and then going on the chicken sort of thing. It's all cooked. And then I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of the everything bagel, which will give it a little bit of salt, a little bit more garlic, and the crunch of those sesame seeds and poppy seeds toasted. And that's it, back in the oven. There you go, this is what they look like. Nice, crunchy, sticky little chicken drumettes with that hoisin maple glaze. So that is late lunch for today, and then once this is sorted, tidied up again, we'll look at starting on those buttermilk tenders. Alrighty, we ate our chicken drumettes for lunch. I've still got the chicken to deep fry, but everyone else has gone out for the afternoon, so Kavik and I are home, and I thought Kavik might like to make some muffins. Yeah? So, you're going to do it for me? So we need 420 grams of the muffin mix into the bowl. 420, yep.
That's a lot of muffin mix.
Mm-hmm.
I did 430 back then.
That's right. Alright, so we got 420 odd of the muffin mix. We need 250 grams of milk.
200 teaspoons?
250 grams.
Oh, 250 grams. Try to pour it in. 250 grams, 250 grams, 250 grams.
Yep.
251.
And then we need 1 egg, so you're going to grab an egg. Now I've got jars of cherries that I bought to use the jars for yogurt, and I have just not got around to using the cherries. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this cherry chocolate muffin. So I'm just chopping up the cherry pieces.
So do I mix
1 egg. We need 125 grams of oil, and then you can mix. So no, not that one, the olive oil.
Olive. Is olive made of oil?
It is made from olives, yes.
150 grams.
125 grams of oil.
25.
Yep.
125. Oh.
That's right.
Now mix.
Now you can mix it up, yep. Careful. You can take it off the scales to mix it, to make it easier, and so you don't damage the scales. Yeah, got it. Yes, you can eat one. So we've got some, these were thin dairy-free chocolates that I actually bought for Easter and never ended up using, and they've been sitting in the freezer. And they're like fine discs almost, so I'm just crunching them up a little bit. So they end up little flecks. And we're going to do half a cup of these. So that's 1/4, half. And then, watch out because this is dripping everywhere. We've got cherry juice dripping everywhere.
It also tastes good.
So all I've done is I've chopped up a bunch of cherries, and we're going to do around about half a cup of cherries as well. Which appears to be about that. And then we're going to mix that through. Mixed it. All right, you want to get the muffin tray and the muffin tins, muffin papers. I think they're up on the shelf. So this is using the muffin mix that I made up. So this has worked really well for the kids to be able to do it. I've just got written in my recipe book the ratios of what they need to add to it. And then we've got a muffin tray and some muffin papers.
As you always say, we will top them up afterwards.
Yeah, so Carvik goes along and puts some in each paper, and then I top them up afterwards if need be when I scrape the bowl out. So he just goes through and puts some in each paper, and then we figure out what we've got left.
Sometimes I actually add so much in them.
All right, so we've got it evenly between the 12 pans. I've got the oven preheated to 180, so we're going to throw them in. All right, 25 minutes, and this is what they look like. Carvik wants to, show them off. He also wanted to mention that he has figured out how to make coffee for me, so he made me a coffee. And now if he wants a warm muffin, he made a cup of tea too, so he can have a warm muffin with his tea while we wait for everyone else to get back. So yes, that muffin mix, and these ones are chocolate cherry. All right, so we need to season some flour. So I've got here like a cup and a half of plain flour, and I'm going to add some potato starch as well because we're going to lighten up that flour mix a bit. And then we're just going to add a few more of the same seasonings that's in the marinade. So a bit of smoked paprika, a bit of garlic powder, and some pepper. And you're going to grab a whisk, and we'll whisk this together. You want to whisk it? Just be gentle. And then we're going to dip the chicken using some of this marinade to create a nice flaky batter to it, but we've got the oil heating first. So we want to get the oil up about sort of 375 Fahrenheit or 190 to 200 Celsius, and because as soon as we add the chicken, the temperature is going to drop a little bit. So we're going to get it a little bit hotter than we want it, so that once we add the chicken, the temperature drops to around about where we want it, which is about the 350, 175 sort of mark. So we're just going to get that heated up first. All right, so the oil is almost at temperature. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start dredging the chicken. So the goal here is to take some of the liquid with you. Instead of taking all the liquid off, we're going to leave some of the liquid with us, and that's going to create the flakiness in the batter. Now you can redredge in liquid and then redredge in flour, which will make it even more so. But I don't like, yes, okay, it does make it a little bit more flaky, a little bit more crispy, a little bit more, that sort of thing, but it's also a lot of effort. And I just don't think it's necessary. Like, for us, this is enough. You just make sure that you take some of the liquid with you as you go, so that you're creating those flakes in the flour, and I will probably need to top up the flour at some point as well. Now, there's a bit of a debate too about whether you should then dredge them and then just let them sit for a while to let the chicken soak up the flour a little bit and before frying it, and I do agree that that is quite a good idea, but I'm also doing 5 kilos of chicken at once in a fairly small kitchen with minimal resources. So for me, all I'm doing is I'm dredging it and then I'm putting it in a pile beside on the side of the bowl. Oops, I just used the wrong hand because I was talking. And then when I go to put it in the oil, if I want to just slightly dredge some of those slightly damp looking bits of chicken, then I can, because it's still in the flour. And as I said, we'll end up adding more flour. So as we get more flakes of the wet flour in here, so that it does this kind of flaky, crispy thing, as the flour in here gets more of those wet bits, it's all right, thank you, babe, then we'll need a bit more fresh flour and seasoning just to compensate for all the little flaky bits, to allow for some more fine stuff to be able to coat the chicken. So we've got a good amount coated there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly wash my hands. And once I'm not showing you what I'm doing, I'll do more at a time rather than washing my hands so often. The oil still isn't quite at temperature, so let me just wait a sec for that. All right, we're getting up to the 185, 190 mark, using the infrared thermometer that I bought to use with the new pizza oven, which will also be a video shortly. And so all we're going to do is we're going to place the chicken in there. I've got a rack to put it on afterwards as well. So we're just going to gently place, see how it's got all these crispy pieces? We're going to gently place this in, shaking it off a bit, and then placing it in. And we'll do half a dozen or so pieces per batch. Okay, so we've got 6 pieces in there. That's probably enough realistically. And what we'll do is we'll just keep on dredging chicken while this is cooking, so that we've got the next 6 to go. And just, yeah, keep on moving through. Carvik wants to give me a hand with the dredging, so we'll do that, and I'll bring you back once we're pulling this lot out. Oh, that's fine, just pat it on, yep, and then just put it on the pile and grab the next piece, yep. 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 Whoops. Keep one hand for wet, one hand for dry.
You did that.
I did do that too, yeah.
You gotta dredge the chicken.
That's alright. Yep.
Season the chicken.
Yep. Next one. Other hand. That one. Just, yep.
I got confused a little bit.
Yeah, that's alright. In there with the dry hand, yep. Pat it all on.
Pat, 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 pat. Pat, pat, pat.
Yep. Next one. That's it. Just keep going. Alright, and it only takes a few minutes. These are tenderloins. They do not take much time to cook. And so they start floating and we get some good colour pretty quick. So next batch, not at the moment because we've got stuff in here at the moment. So we're just going to let them, make sure they're cooked through, get a good colour on them, and then we're going to put them on the rack. And by that point, Carvik will have more to go into the pan for me. Just like that. And then we're just going to keep on repeating the process over and over and over again. Be careful, mate. Alright, so I'm still cooking up the chicken where I need to skim this oil again. But we've got a big tray of chicken there as well. So I've still got a little bit going, three more batches maybe. But what I'm also going to do is make some mayo to go with it. So Darryl had to go into Toowoomba a couple of days ago. And while he was in there, I got him to grab some of those pre-made salad mixes. Because salad's something that we just don't get enough of. No, I really like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up some mayo. We'll have some salad mix and some chicken, and that will be dinner tonight. So I've got some egg yolks. I've got some egg yolks there, and I'm going to grab my other ingredients. Alrighty, I've got some Dijon mustard, a good dollop of that. I've got some cowboy candy, and then I also have some of that pickle brine from earlier, and then we're going to blend this up. And then we'll slowly start adding oil. Just need to get this chicken off. Alrighty, and now we're just going to add the oil. So Alright, so as I said, I've got the last 6 pieces on, giant 5 kilos worth of crumbed chicken tenders that are crispy and will be perfect for putting in the oven to reheat. So what will happen is we'll have some for dinner. So as I said, I've got a couple of the bagged salads. We're going to have some of these with the tenders, and I've got some cheese to grate here, homemade mayo. We'll have these for dinner. The rest will go on trays, and I'll flash freeze them in the freezers, and then they'll go in bags, and then they can be pulled out and just put on a tray in the oven at say 180 for about 20 minutes, and they will be heated through and perfect for eating for whatever we want, whether we want it with mashed veg for dinner or whether we want it heated up, chopped up into pieces and put on pizza, because that's really nice. And maybe I'll make that pizza tomorrow, so I'll keep some out because I'll do that pizza dough tomorrow to show off the new pizza oven. And we'll have some of these on the pizza because that's really nice too. So anyway, giant one of that, and my battery is nearly dead. So I don't even know how long this video has ended up being with all of this, but I just wanted to share the chicken prep and things like that. And because I haven't been able to film much lately, it's just been a crappy week. So we'll see anyway, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one, guys.